Mike Owens with Inside Fighting, joined today by Brandon Six Gun Gibson, who's hard at work getting Aaron Pico ready for his UFC debut against Lerone Murphy at UFC 319 next week. Brandon, great to sit down and chat for the first time. How are you and how's preparation going?
I'm doing really well, and preparation's been great. We've been kind of in the midst of a very long camp with lots of opponent changes throughout, lots of date changes, but the goal, the mission, remain the same, and that's to see Aaron's hand raised in his UFC debut.
Obviously, we've not seen Aaron in action in over a year now since his last fight. Is there a difficulty preparing a fighter for the next fight after they've had a longer layoff? Is that something that you have to factor in?
Oh, yeah, of course, there's always challenges that come with these extra long camps, and
Mm.
kind of throughout the end of his PFL career. We thought we'd be fighting Pitbull multiple dates. Then we thought we'd be fighting Movsar multiple dates, and now Lerone Murphy. So, but there's also a lot of benefits to having this extra long camp and even opponent styles and changes because it leads to a lot of growth within the martial artists. And
Mm.
I think we are the ones with the more time and preparation on our side, and it will benefit Aaron on fight night.
What what areas of growth have you seen in your fighter throughout this period? Without giving too much away, of course.
Oh, it just Aaron's overall discipline. He's probably the most disciplined athlete I've ever trained. I've trained a lot of UFC Hall of Famers, so it's not a small statement.
Mm.
He's just an impressive young man. His ability to stay focused for these durations, um, stay focused on his goal. It's really impressive, and he's a well-rounded striker, amazing wrestler, amazing grappler, and we've just continued to polish all of those areas and um, had a lot of great looks as well. I mean, he's right now training with Hamzat, he's training with Arman Sarukian, Diego Paz, like a lot of great martial artists. So I think it's fantastic to see as we finish these final preparations to see him surrounded by so many great athletes. It's motivating.
Obviously, he did, or you guys have done great work in his career in Bellator slash PFL, but this has been a move that a lot of fans have wanted to see and have talked about for such a long time. I'm wondering what was your first reaction when you heard the news that the UFC wanted to sign Aaron Pico?
I think the UFC's wanted Aaron for a long time. He just signed into a Bellator contract at a very young age, and that Bellator path was great for him. He really got to develop his skills, build him up at proper levels. But being a UFC champion has always been Aaron's goal and has always been our goal as a team. So now we're one step closer to it.
How has Aaron reacted to the opponent change? Obviously, originally scheduled to fight Mosfar Evler a week or so ago. Now, obviously facing Lerone Murphy in about a week and a half's time. How has he reacted to that change of opponent?
It's just part of the game. You just got to roll with it. There's nothing to put that much emotion or, you know, it's just part of the game. You
Mm.
need to be ready to have these opponent changes. Guys drop out, guys fill in, dates change. So Aaron's been, lucky to be surrounded by so many great experienced fighters. He's been through it himself. And then, same with his coaching staff. Like, this is what we do. So you don't really put like emotional investment into it. You just say, yes, all right, who's the next name? What's the next game plan? And let's just flow right into that.
How different do you think those two fighters' styles are when you analyze Mosfar and Lerone?
Yeah, very different styles. I mean, Mofsar is incredible at what he does, and Laron's incredible at what he does, and they both bring a lot of different skills, techniques, strengths, weaknesses. Yeah, but it's probably an exact opposite style of what we had, spent months preparing
Mm.
for. But Laron and his team have to prepare for Pico, which is no small feat either.
How would you, obviously, I imagine you've done a lot of tape study in the last week or so on Lerone. How would you describe his style and assess him specifically as a fighter?
Oh, I think he's fluid, he's dangerous, he's evasive. He has great cardio. He's, shown that he's a 5 round fighter, and he's been in there with top 15 guys in the world and come out victorious with his hand raised, and he's undefeated for a reason. But each step of this game gets a little more difficult.
Mm. In your mind, is Lerone Murphy an easier or more difficult style matchup to prepare for Aaron than most Lewis?
I don't know if you could rank it as easier.
Mm,
Mofsar isn't dropping guys with punches the way Lerone is.
mm.
They each bring a lot of danger, a lot of different threats. So, these guys are ranked and best in the world for a reason. So it's just a matter of adjusting, adapting the offensive style, the defensive styles, and the overall strategy. So, I think Aaron's has faced some guys with some similar skill set, some similar strengths as Lerone, and has come out victorious. So, you know, that's an element that we kind of have in our back pocket in preparation as well.
What do you anticipate a win next Saturday night unlocks for Aaron next?
I think it opens up, Aaron comes out victorious, comes out, makes a statement against, a really strong, undefeated ranked contender. I think puts Aaron right in the title contention.
Do you feel like it could be a title shot against Alexander Volkanovski with one win in the UFC? Do you feel like he kind of warrants that, if you will?
I think Aaron brings an excitement, a charisma, a skill set that is unique at 145 right now. I
Yeah.
think I think that division is really open. When there's some unique matchups coming like John Silva and Diego Lopez, there could be some other contenders in the mix. Yair's always up there, but I think Volkanovski's maybe looking for some new challengers, and Aaron could be right in the mix with a victory.
That's a scintillating potential for next, but obviously I know that the goal is obviously the victory next Saturday. How many guys are you working with at the moment? Is it solely Aaron, or how many guys have you got in the mix?
There's been times in my career, Michael, that I've worked with a lot of fighters. I
Mm,
didn't find that I was best serving those athletes when I was working with a huge roster.
mm.
So over the past few years, I've just worked with Jon Jones and Aaron Pico. We'll see what Jon, decides next. I'm always ready for that phone call with Jon to get some work in. But I've also started working with Gable Stevenson, Olympic gold medalist, heavyweight wrestler. So I think he can have a great MMA career. So I'm trying to keep my roster very small so I can give the guys my very best. And right now, Aaron has all my attention, all my efforts.
Is it a almost a longevity thing at this point? Like you're trying to not spread yourself so thin that the guys that you've worked with for the longer periods and had the maybe in some ways the strongest relationships with are the guys that you feel like you need to focus your time and efforts with.
Yeah, I think that less so of a longevity stance and more so of that connection, right? Like I want to make sure that the guys I'm coaching, I'm able to give my all to and have no hesitation sacrificing with, my family, my friends, my other athletes to give them my all and my very best. And Aaron's family to me, just like Jon Jones is, just like Carlos Condit and so many of the other greats I've trained. So yeah, to me it's I don't own some big school. I don't have 50 guys in the UFC on my roster. I'm just trying to make each fighter I train the very, very best in the world. And I'd kind of rather have that small team approach than it's just better for me personally. It's better for me and my style as a coach.
As a coach, at what point can you recognize that you have a special relationship with a fighter or that there's a click there, there's something that maybe goes both ways? Is that something that happens immediately or does that take some time to marinate?
Yeah, I think immediately you can kind of tell who you would click with, vibe with, have a good relationship
Mm,
with, and then from there it's about developing and developing through camps, developing that trust through fights, through cornering rounds in between, through post-fight goals. So a lot of different phases on it, and I think this will be Aaron and I's 13th fight together.
mm.
So a lot of work in so far, and a lot of work to go.
I'm sure you've been asked this question on other interviews, podcast appearances, but I have to ask, where did the nickname Six Gun come from?
Um, I grew up boxing, and New Mexico has a lot of like Old West history, a lot of
Of
six
course.
gun shooting cowboys, and they always said I kind of had quick hands, like Billy the Kid, like a quick draw six gun cowboy. So, there's probably a lot of other nicknames that weren't so pleasant thrown at me, but I'll take the good one.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned him earlier, so I've got to bring him up. But the other man that you obviously spend so much time in the training room with, Jon Jones. What is your assessment of Jon's retirement at this stage of his career? I've saw some post on your Instagram saying that whenever he thinks is right is right for him type of thing. But I wanted to obviously give you an opportunity to express your thoughts at Jon's seeming retirement.
Yeah, I mean, John's given so much to this game, right? He's given so much to the fans. There's a lot that goes into this. I mean, guys carry scars from this game. And I know he's benefited a lot from this amazing sport as well. But I think every fighter is due to walk off when they feel the time is right. And for John, he truly feels like there's nothing left to prove. And I know to the fans, there's always a next contender.
Yeah.
I think this situation was unique with Aspinall being the interim champ and John still getting to fight Stipe, which was set long before Aspinall was even in the title contention.
Mm.
Um, and John wanted to see that through. Stipe was a great to John, probably the greatest heavyweight in UFC to this point, and John really wanted to see that fight through. And I think he was open to negotiations, and at the time, it just didn't really spark him to get up and do another camp. But now that there's talk of a card maybe next July 4th at the White House, that's something that's sparked and intrigued John as well. So I could see him really getting back in the mix and seeing what happens.
I wanted to ask you about that. Knowing John as you do, and obviously he's alluded to potentially wanting to fight on that White House card. Do you anticipate if this is the end, let's say, do you anticipate he will be tempted to come out of retirement? Do you think like that will be something that he will struggle with, if you will?
I don't think John's going to struggle with much.
Mm,
At the end of the day, he's very proud of his career and what he's done. And if he's 38, if he chooses to jump in and do one more, I think he's so smart, he's so skilled, he's so disciplined. His technique level is unmatched, and John knows how to win. At the end of the day, he's a winner.
yeah.
Winners win, and he could put together a camp and go out there and make it look easy like he always does. And if it comes down to a dog fight, he's also proven that he's a dog.
Were you surprised by some of the fan reaction to John, because it felt like, from my perspective, like a lot of fans forgot what John's done in this game and what John's quite frankly done in this game for the best part of 15 years. Were you surprised by the way the fans reacted to his unwillingness to take the Aspinall
No,
fight?
no, I think fans in all sports typically have, short memories, and it's just about what's next and what they want to see and what has not happened yet. And it keeps intrigue up in the sport, and there's always going to be next stars and the next champ and the next contender. And that's just part of the game.
Hmm.
But I think John probably deserves more flowers than what he's gotten, and I think through time that will also be the case. I look at some of these guys now, like Mike Tyson, when he was losing to Lennox Lewis, he wasn't getting his flowers, and now Mike's like a beloved icon.
Hmm.
So sometimes it just takes time.
Last question from me. How has working with Jon Jones throughout your career improved your game as a coach?
Oh, immensely, immensely. I've been so fortunate to be surrounded by great coaches
Hmm.
and great athletes. Since I started in this game in like 2002. Um, but John especially, like he gave me a big chance when I was young. I was like a 27-year-old coach without a resume, and John gave me the opportunity. And I think we've learned a lot from each other. But from John, I've learned so much on like the media side, on sponsorships, on his championship approach, on his ability to tell his story, on his ability to do things on his own terms that, I hope to share with younger fighters as they come up in the game. And but probably most importantly is John's approach to studying, how deep he goes, how break broken down our notes, our game plan, our strategy, each workout becomes. And that's something that level of focus I think is unmatched in other athletes. And I've really seen how it's paid off for him. So that's something I also try to instill into the younger fighters.
I love it. Brandon, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure catching up and gaining some insights from you. And all I can say after this is I hope the rest of the training camp goes well, weight cut goes well, and best of luck for Aaron's fight next Saturday.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I appreciate your time. And let me know. We'll chat again.